So now we move on to the villain side of characters I'd like to see in Legends of Tomorrow, and maybe appear more in the DC CW universe. Just hopefully good. Again, expectations kind of low on that department. So, starting off is Gentleman Ghost. I would absolutely love to see Gentleman Ghost in here. He's more or less a villain for Hawkman and Hawkgirl, so I think it would be a cool idea, since we're already dealing with the whole past lives thing. Maybe have it that in one of the past lives, Carter or Shire, or even both of them, murdered Jim Craddock, and his ghost is coming back to haunt them. And his spirit is now haunting them after he was murdered in a past life. Like, he was brought back, like a seance or something, and now Jim Craddock is coming for revenge as the Gentleman Ghost. And I'd really like to see, like, the team's reaction to that, because they haven't really done... They've done a few supernatural things, but I'd love to see Ray's, especially Ray and Dr. Stein's reaction to, really? A ghost? Seriously? We're being attacked by a ghost. And yeah, I think, the only thing we've done with the past lives is do stupid flashbacks and keep referencing, oh, we die every time we fight Vandal Savage. So I think there could be more to that, like have it that Carter was a police officer in one life. He was hunting these killings in London, and that eventually found Jim. It was behind Jim Craddock. Craddock tried to kill him, and Carter ended up shooting him and murdering him. And his spirit would forever walk the earth as an angry spirit, as an angry ghost. There you go. So that's what I'd like to see. I'd love, as much as I'd love to see like the whole invisible getup. I think Gentleman Ghost, they'd probably make him like it's an all white clothes. They would cheap out like that and not do the CGI or something of that manner. But yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. I think having Gentleman Ghost in here would be a lot of fun. So, others Hawkman and Hawkgirl villains would be Shadow Thief. Yeah, the main villain the true main villain of Hawkman and Hawkgirl, the Shadow Thief. Shadow Thief would be a lot of fun. Obviously, they can't do the whole Hopset thing with him anymore because they gave that to Vandal. But I think they could still use him. I think they could still use him in a show. I mean, the CGI for the Shadow moves wouldn't be that great, but maybe have it that Shadow Thief is a villain that they encounter in the past, and Shadow Thief, who's already encountered them in a past life, thinks, oh, it's the same guys who screwed me over on a job. I'm gonna teach those bastards a thing or two, or even introduce him in the present timeline, and he swears after being beaten by Carter and Shira, he swears vengeance on the whole lot of them, and he becomes a recurring villain. You could even have him show up in Arrow and Flash as well. I think that would be a lot of fun too. So Shadow Thief. Following that is the Fatal Five. The Fatal Five would be a lot of fun to have in here, because there's already been a lot of talk of the Legion of Superheroes possibly making an appearance somewhere in the DCCW universe, probably more than likely Legends of Tomorrow. And what better way, to do that is to introduce the Fatal Five. The Persuader's already shown up in Smallville once, and I know, this show's no longer in continuity, but I think it would be a lot of fun to have the Fatal Five in here, is have them like, they've escaped from the far future, and they've come to, they've come to steal Time Master technology, because I'm pretty sure the Time Masters are going to be dismantled after this whole thing. The Oculus is gone, they can no longer help Savage, and they've lost several members of their forces, so the Time Masters are pretty weak right now, and now they're kind of weakened and probably dismantling probably by the second season, if not by the end of this season. So I think it'd be cool is like you had the Emerald Empress and the rest of the Fatal Five arrive in, the Vanishing Point, and they just lay siege to it now that they're weakened, and steal a bunch of Time Master technology to use it to try to change the future so that the Legion never existed, or something to that nature, possibly. I think that would be a cool way to really play with that, anyway. Again, you can introduce the Legion of Superheroes. I think that would be a fun way. Or, you could save these characters could easily work in Supergirl as well. But I think either way it would be fun. So, yeah, the Fatal Five in here. The big question is, how do you do Vladius, the big monster in the back you can see right there with the brain? he's going to be the toughest one to do. But then again, they did King Shark pretty well, and they did Grodd. So I think that you could do Vladius. That could be a possibility. So next up is the Brotherhood of Evil. Now, in the first part of this little two-part vid, I guess you could say, I talked about the Doom Patrol. So yeah, the Doom Patrol. You need the Brotherhood of Evil. Now, with the Brotherhood of Evil, I would have it that the Brain has assembled this group, and even have Warp in here. And I would actually have Warp as, and this would probably be if he was ever introduced in the DCCW universe, was that he was a former Time Master who went rogue, and he was a close friend to Rip. He was a colleague of Rip until he went rogue. I would make Warp quintessentially the master of the, the master of, like, he would be like this equivalent to the Master from Doctor Who. I said that like 3 times. I'm sorry I repeated myself. My apologies. But yeah, I would have it that he's part of this clandestine group from the past because he's become so disillusioned with the Time Masters, even before Rip was, and he joined the Brain because he believes the Brain could be, could save all of time and space by ruling it through force. So he would join this team, and he was presumed dead by the Time Masters, but really the Brotherhood of Evil have just been harvesting, learning all the technology Warp had at his disposal, and now they're ready to enact a plan now that the Time Masters are weakened, and yeah, they want to get revenge on the Doom Patrol, and even Rip's team if they get in the way, which obviously they do. So you're probably wondering, well, which version of the team would I use? The comic book team you see right here with Warp, Brain, Mala, Plasmus, and Phobia. I can't remember the voodoo priest's name. I think his name was Dawson. That was a Street Fighter character. Anyway, but I think I would use Madame Rouge in this lineup. Yeah, Madame Rouge, and yeah, a few other members for the Brotherhood of Evil. We've already got a superhero team. I've been waiting forever for a supervillain team. I've been waiting forever in the for the DCCW universe to do a supervillain team, and you can't say Hive or the other, because those are organizations. Those are organizations and clans. I want like a group like the Rogues were going to be, but that didn't happen. So I'd like to see like the Secret Society, the Legion of Doom, or the Brotherhood of Evil. Come on. And I think, yeah, you got a superhero team, you need a supervillain team. That's how these things work, people. Anyway, so I think it would be cool if these guys were like big overarching villains for the Legion. Now that they steal technology thanks to Warp's help, and now they're like the evil version of Rip's team. Like they're going around trying to manipulate time to their purposes. So they could, the Brain and the rest of his Legion, the rest of his Brotherhood, can now rule all of time and space, just like how they're trying to save time and space. So yeah, just have Rip's team hunt the Brotherhood of Evil all through the timelines. I think these guys would make great season-long villains. But yeah, anyway, so let's move on. And finally is Starro. Starro would be such an awesome character to use in Legends of Tomorrow. I think he would be a lot of fun, and even again, I could see him brought in Supergirl if they use him. And yeah, since the CW can't use Darkseid because he's going to be in the movies, use the next best thing. Use the thing that brought together the original Justice League. Yeah, Starro. You could even have it that, thanks to Rip's meddling in the Thanagarians, the whole Thanagaria mess, have it that, due to Rip defeating defeating Vandal, he's allowed the timeline to be changed for even something worse coming, and that thing is Starro. And shit, you could even have it that Starro you could have this huge saga with all the other characters in here. Like, you could have it start in Legends of Tomorrow, and then in episodes of Supergirl, Arrow, and Flash, you could have this big season, this big saga of, wow, it is really coming down out there. Sorry, there's rain going on where I am right now. But yeah, have it that, this big epic saga with all these characters in it. And have it, start and then end in 2 episodes of Legends of Tomorrow, but in between you have an episode each, one from Arrow, one from Supergirl, and one from the Flash, where they're trying to stop the Starro invasion, more or less. So yeah, there's so many other villains I thought about using, but I wanted to keep this list short. So you guys tell me, what villains would you like to see show up in Legends of Tomorrow? Just comment below, let me know, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.